Hey guys, what's up? It's Ori with TGN.TV, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to spec, how to gem, enchant, and reforge as a Prot warrior tank for PvP, for flag carrying, and standing on node maps. So, of course, in PvP you want to be stacking resilience. Right now I'm still missing like 6 pieces at least of Ruthless Gear, but I'm still at 4,665 resilience. I should be around 4,750 when I actually max out my gear, which will be incredible. Now, first I'm going to start with the spec. So going into the spec, I'm going to start with protection. I'm not going to go in depth into the talents. I'm going to go over them, kind of do a summary of them. So Blood and Thunder makes your rend go on everyone after you thunderclap around you. Toughness, increase your armor value by 10%. Now, you're going 3 out of 3 in toughness, 2 out of 2 in Blood and Thunder. I do see some people go 2 in insight, but on a node map, having the AoE thunderclap, putting that on rogue so they have to cloak before they can vanish is really nice and handy to have, and it also just kind of keeps something ticking on people. Again, how many times have you been caught in raid BGs like Waterworks where you've got everybody having dots on them from a lock? It's just there and it's hard to get around. Shield specialization, you generate 15 rage when you block and 60 when you spell reflect. Of course, spell reflect is supposed to be up every single 25 seconds that you're in a zone where you're going to be getting hit a lot. Of course, I like to keep spell reflect up. It's amazing on nodes because when you're getting hit by a mage or something, and you spell reflect an attack, not only are you dealing damage back to them, but you're also generating rage to keep people off of the flag with your cleave, thunderclap, shockwave, devastate, whatever. Shield mastery, decrease the cooldown of your shield block by 30 seconds, shield wall by 180, and you also take 20% less damage for 6 seconds while your shield block is up. Again, very good to have considering shield block also does a lot of damage in the sword and board, I think it is. Nope, heavy repercussions, sorry. So shield mastery, again, very good to have. So of course go 3 out of 3 that, and shield specialization. Hold the line, improves the critical strike and critical block chance by 10% for 10 seconds after following a successful parry. Now you guys might think this is a PvE talent, but if someone isn't expertise capped, you have a great chance to block them, especially as a tank when you're going to be using a sword and board and everything like that. It just comes in handy too many times to count. Gag order, being able to throw your weapon at someone and silence them for 3 seconds, if it's a healer in the back or whatever, it's amazing to have. I cannot stress it enough. I mean, there's been so many times where I've had to silence a mana burning disc priest because the rogue isn't on him or whatever, and it's just saved our healers so many times. So of course you're going to pick up Gag Order for the silence. It's a PvP talent, not a PvE talent as far as I'm considered. Last stand, temporarily grants you 30% of your maximum health for 20 seconds. So I can pop myself up with all of my cooldowns, my trinket, everything popped to about 250k health. And I'll show you guys that after. I'll go into a BG, and with my Alliance Battle Standard, I completely pop myself up. It's retarded. Concussion Blow stuns the opponent for 5 seconds and deals some damage. But it's based on AP, so I mean it all varies and everything like that. But the major thing is that you stun the opponent for 5 seconds. Basin of Defense. Basically, it reduces the chance you'll be critically hit by 6% while in defensive stance. And of course, you're in defensive stance. You're never going to be going into battle stance or Zerker stance unless you're DPSing as Prot, which I don't recommend in rated BGs. I mean, if you want to go and do some in arenas or whatever, go ahead. I mean, I've done it twos with my friends as Prot, and it's pretty fun, especially in twos. And when you block, parry, dodge, you have a 20% chance to be enraged, increasing your physical damage by 10% for 12 seconds. Warbringer allows your charge and intercept and intervene abilities to be used while in combat and in any stance. This move you need. I mean, this is the reason that Prot warriors are probably the #1 flag carrier over Blood DKs, Feral Druids, and fuck, what else is there? Yeah, Blood DKs, Feral Druids, and Pallies, sorry, because we have so much mobility, so much survivability, and just everything like that. Improved Revenge. So people don't really read all this talent. They think it's just a damage, but but you have the chance to hit another person around you. So of course, when it procs, it's another cleave ability, making it important to have on node maps. I cannot stress enough how being the main AoE with 170k buffed is to your team, especially when you have like 4.6k res plus. Devastate, basically sunder armor and one of your main abilities. Heavy Repercussions, when shield block is active, your shield slam hits for an additional 100%. Thunderstruck. Now, I could go and decide to put that into Insight, but I prefer just to have it in Thunderstruck, just because having some damage output is still nice to have, especially if you're solo defending a node. Like if you're an AB and you're a stables alone, your team's kind of fucked if you get sapped, blinded, and then get capped on when you're not putting out any damage to kind of do anything against them. I've had times where I've soloed a lock before. It was kind of funny, but I've soloed a lock in a rated BG as Prot, so I mean, it's definitely something to do. Sword and Board, increase the critical strike chance of Devastate by 15%. In addition, when your Devastate or Revenge deal damage, you have a 30% chance on refreshing the cooldown on your Shield Slam and reducing its cost by 100% for 5 seconds. This will save your ass. I mean, there have been countless times, of course I keep on saying countless, but it's because it is countless. I don't know how many times it's happened, but it's happened enough to make a big difference in the way I'm speccing. So I mean, having the reduced cost and having it pop up, making it so that you can hit another person is just insane to have. Especially when you're rage starved and you don't have a shout up. And then Shockwave, basically a cone of cold for a mage, but instead of freezing them, it stuns them. Now, there are 2 ways you can spec with Arms and Fury. The first way is by far my favorite way. So you're going to go 3 out of 3 in Blood Craze. Basically, this is just a health generation, and you generate 4% of your total health for 5 seconds. And then you go 1 in War Academy, just to get into the next tier. You go 2 in a Field Dressing for the extra healing done by your healers. And you go 2 in a Blitz for the charge stun and also the rage. Now you go into Second Wind for the extra health. So this is the spec that I use and the only one I'll use. I mean, everything that I've left out is PvE or more for Arms or Fury. But you can also go Heroic Strike spec for Prot if you want to do some DPS, but this is the way I prefer to go. Now the second way is in the Fury tree, you actually go down to the next tier, into Piercing Howl spec. Now, this is good, but it is bad. You can go 3 into Blood Craze, 2 into Cruelty, and then you go into Piercing Howl. Now, it's good for an AoE slow, nice to kind of have, but again, you're not going to be generating that health, and you're going to be losing a lot, and then you're only going into 2 Field Dressing and maybe 1 Blitz. I don't know, I haven't spec'd that way in a while, but I do know some warriors that prefer that, and I just think it's kind of dumb. Now, going into Glyphs. For Prime Glyphs, you're going to want to get Glyph of Devastate, Glyph of Revenge, and Glyph of Shield Slam. Shield Slam and Devastate, Revenge, increase the damage by 10% to each ability, and then Devastate is increase the crit by 5%, crit chance by 5%. Now, the Thunderclap Glyph reduces the cost of Thunderclap by 5 rage. That's a lot of rage because usually it's 20 rage, but having that extra 15 rage makes a big difference on a node map, and it's just personally the way I would go with it. I mean, you can go into the Spell Reflect way and take out that. But honestly, just having the Thunderclap is way more important to me than having the spell effect. Sorry. Devastate, reduce the cooldown on Shockwave by 3%. Again, another AoE that's prime to have in most occasions. And Glyph of Cleave, increase the number of targets hit by 1. So instead of hitting 2 targets, you're going to be hitting 3. And just keeping people off the node, of course. Now, for minor glyphs, I would take the Glyph of Demoralizing Shout, Commanding Shout, and Berserker Rage. Berserker Rage just for the extra 5 rage. I mean, there's no point in getting Enduring Victory because you're not going to be getting any kills. I mean, people like to make the argument, let me just go back to my talents here, that getting Impending Victory is good, but it's a PvE talent. You're not going to be getting any hits really on someone under 20% because you're going to have a warrior, a DK, you're going to have a mage, maybe even an arcane mage on him too, all hitting him at one time when he's under 20%. You're not going to be getting that devastate off in time and enough damage to kill a person and get that victory rush off. So that about does it for the spec and glyphs. I'm going to quickly go over the professions that I picked and why. So blacksmithing, the reason I went into blacksmithing is because I get an extra 80 resilience from the socket bonuses on the gloves and bracers. So I'm getting an extra 80 resilience. And then jewel crafting, I get an extra 27 resilience per gem, and I get 3 extra gems. So let me just go here. So the way that you're going to be doing your armor, you're going to put 20 resilience and 20 strength into the red socket. In the meta gem, you want to put 81 stamina and anything that really helps you. I mean, I picked the 2% armor item value, but I know that there's some other ones out there like spell reflect, spell reflect, and stuff like that. But this is personally the one I went with. In shoulders, you're going to want to put a 40 resilience gem. In the chest, a 20 resilience and 20 strength and a 40 resilience. In the bracers, a 40 resilience or 67 resilience. In your bracers, a 40 resilience and a 40 resilience if you're blacksmithing. In your belt, you want to put 40 resilience and 40 resilience, or 67 and 67. 2 40 resilience gems in your pants, and a 40 resilience in your boots. So this is maxing out all the resilience you can get from gemming, and it's by far the way to go. Now with your head enchant, you're going to go with the resilience. Same with your shoulders. On the back, I picked the 250 armor. I've been looking for another one, but I'm a bit tight on gold, so I can't really do that yet. You're going to want 40 resilience on your chest. On your bracers, I had dodge, but I got new bracers today, so I'm kind of out for that. 65 mastery on your gloves. On your belt, you have the belt gem. 145 stam. I want to get the 50 dodge, but I only have 55 agility in my guild bank, so that's what I picked. And then you want 30 stamina and minor movement speed. And then 50 mastery on your shield, and mending or windwalker on your mace or sword or whatever. What you're going to want to do is take all of the things like expertise, haste, and just crit, and you want to reforge all of that into mastery, because what your mastery does as a prot warrior is increases your chance to block by 21% and increase the critical block chance by 21%, and each point of mastery increases the chance by an additional 1.5%. So of course having mastery as a prot warrior is really important to have, especially because it will of course generate you extra rage, and it's just an amazing thing to have. And with it being able to get hit and you blocking, you can deal a lot of damage. You can take away a lot of damage being dealt by you. So of course everything you can reforge into mastery, you want to reforge. Of course you still want to have the 5% hit just for your shockwaves and your cleaves on the flags and everything like that. And then just have as much mastery as you can stack from crit and everything. And of course just have resilience stacked up to as high as you can get it. And of course with the blacksmithing and jewel crafting, I am stacking as much resilience, I am stacking as much resilience as humanly possible. So of course stacking resilience is very important, stacking mastery is very important, and making sure you have the right spec is probably the 3 key things that I can give you guys. And then the rest is just gameplay. I'm going to be doing some more normal BGs and also what I like to personally run with on my roster and why in later videos, and kind of tell you guys what brings what and why this and why not that, and so far and so on and so forth. So anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed my little guide on protection warrior tanking, flag running, and node defense for PvP. And I hope you guys subscribe to TGN. If you'd like to see some more of my videos, there's going to be a video kind of clip on the top left corner right now that you can click on, and that's going to link you guys to my channel. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys later. This has been Ori with TGN.TV, and make sure you click the show and subscribe.